welcome to
The Consequence of Love.
I'm the husband,
I'm the wife.
and we have this podcast to potentially reach out and help those who have gone through or are going through similar situations that we have gone through or continue to go through.
Yes.
In hopes that maybe we can help each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping that this podcast can enlighten some people, can shed some light on the things that maybe you were not sure of or you didn't understand or you're struggling to understand.
Yeah. Or just hardships in a relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not every relationship is perfect.
We're not. Definitely not. I think that being the topic of the day too is being that we had such a successful and continue to have a successful, that's our child if you can hear her, sorry. We have and had kept a successful relationship even through our struggles in the military that some people might have thought maybe we were perfect or maybe we had some secret that no one else had. And we want to share those secrets that we have and use to this day to continue to have a successful relationship. Yeah. One of those things is just communication. It's just very, very important.
Yes.
Our story is important, revolving around our marriage in the military, because in the military, survival rate of marriages are very slim to none. Mm-hmm. Most marriages don't make it through the military. Sometimes not even within a year. We've had plenty of friends whose relationships didn't last, either due to the military or due to just the stress of the military, the relationship. There's a whole lot of different things that kind of equate to that or that, make that happen. But
yeah, it's hard having two different lifestyles and then having to mash it into one.
Especially depending on when you got married or when you met prior to that relationship. And Alexis will kind of share with you kind of how it all started just before the military, I think.
So we were together for about a year and a half, maybe, before we decided to get married. And it wasn't like...
It wasn't romantic.
No, I was about to say romantic, but I wanted to be like...
It was because of the military, essentially.
Yeah, it was mainly because, he wanted to take care of me.
They offered us money.
Yeah.
And we said, okay.
Yeah, I said okay. And, I was like that day, we were looking up, like, I guess how to get married, because who fucking knows how to get married?
Yeah, especially at 21?
Yeah,
22?
Oh, no, you were, maybe you, because I turned 21 when you were in basic, so I got married at 20.
So that would have been 23, because I joined in 2013, so it would have been 22 at the time, exactly. 22. Yeah, so, and we got married... Yeah, 1 month before. Mm-hmm. Literally. I think almost literally too. Sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. It was I forget the word. It was a really fast marriage.
Yeah.
It
was just definitely not romantic.
Yeah, no, we didn't have a wedding. We didn't, celebrate with family. The only person we celebrated with family was my youngest sister. But that's because we heard we needed a witness, and I didn't want some random name on my wedding license or marriage certificate, whatever it's called. So that's about it. We kind of just did it. Decided to, there wasn't no get down on one knee. Here's a ring. It's kind of like
pre-planning, and we knew we wanted to get married.
We planned, like I said, we planned to have an appointment that Tuesday at something o'clock. True, be there or be square. Obviously I had time enough to get a cute little dress. I'm pretty sure you already had a suit because at the time Zach wanted to look snazzy and wear suits all the time.
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, JT's album came out.
Yeah, so you like
Mirrors and what's the other? What's that album? I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Anyways, but so he had. I think we just bought that suit before any of the drama of the seizure happened. You know what I mean? Because it was a deal. It's you could buy 2 suits for $100 or something. It was really cool. Or
that is interesting.
Your
I don't
parents
remember.
got you for your birthday. It was something like that because you were thinking about it. And you're like, never mind. And then I think your parents got you a suit for your birthday. I believe.
I don't know. I don't really remember. Not too important, but we got married. Sorry. It was rushed. No, don't be sorry. It was rushed, and that's kind of a good overview of how marriages in the military happen. Typically, they're rushed. Typically, right? Not every relationship we're about to describe is every relationship.
And I would say
But
typically because like out of our friends that we've known for a long time, they've actually had like weddings and ceremonies and big, you know,
well,
what I mean,
no,
dresses.
just one.
No, and
Oh,
then
two.
no, and then two people that I didn't know of that we just showed up to be witnesses or signed. It was fast. They were in jeans.
Well, I can only think of two people, and it's one starts with a W and one starts with an L. I mean, I'm sorry, not W, M. And gosh darn, last name ends in E.
Yes.
And the other one was the last name ends in L. Who else had a wedding?
A W.
Who?
Didn't they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, never mind. Then.
Yeah,
It's just two.
yeah, that's what I'm
well,
saying.
yeah, technically only two people. Anyways, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then in my experience, so for her experience would be like our actual friends, people we got close to. For me, would also be my soldiers and my coworkers or my peers or whatnot
Yeah.
who had
There'd be
gotten
times
married.
where like, sorry, there'd be times where like, you'd be like, oh, you want to go to a wedding? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like sure,
so
like
just
what
like,
I
they need
wear
a
a
witness,
dress,
yeah.
or you know what I mean, like, so you would say wedding, so I would assume like, oh, something cute, so I'd
Yeah.
get dressed up, and I'd be more dressed up than the bride, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I feel like crap,
To
like
be in jeans and
I'm
a t-shirt,
sorry,
and we're,
yeah.
like dressed up kind of nice.
Yeah, when
like,
someone says wedding, I'm like,
I think that one too that I'm thinking of, which I don't know if we're thinking about the same person, but yeah, I do recall going to a few where it's like we were way more dressed up. Felt bad, but that's generally
That's
again,
reality.
yeah, the consensus of military weddings, because people either get married immediately after basic training, coming into a new unit. They get married while in the barracks because they don't want to live in the barracks.
they
and
realized how, like,
they
what,
can get a
lonely
house or whatever. Yeah, lonely or just whatever. Or that there's a lot of reasons. There's a whole lot of reasons. Some of them have good intentions. Some of them they mean well. It just doesn't quite work out. And
some of them just like married an awful person. They didn't realize it. You know.
yes.
Yeah.
You're speaking of K.
I don't remember. Oh no,
No?
two other people.
Who is it?
I first thought of G
Oh.
with the dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
mine. I was
sucks.
like, oh,
Forgot about that one too.
because
Yeah.
I forget there was two. Like I said, those people were.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so many
those
bad
are two
relationships. Yeah,
experiences
that's
that I
just
know of, yeah.
unfortunate. So we consider ourselves lucky and not perfect. We consider ourselves lucky because we found each other way before the military. We stuck through it, and then when we joined the military, it wasn't just like easy because of that. It, if anything, was, well, I wouldn't say harder, but it was just, we were just lucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do.
Well, timing, I would say. I think I've expressed this before. We were young. We have not experienced things that we now can never experience. Well, I mean, I guess we could, but it's just not.
Yeah, I was
right.
like, but would you?
As an example, just so everyone's clear, like just like skydiving, we can't go we can't go to Italy now. We have to wait at least 10 years for our kids to be old enough to go. You know what I mean?
Or at least have someone to be like, oh, you
babysit.
wanna, yeah,
But
change
who are we
diapers
gonna
for a
trust
week?
to leave across country? Yeah, our
Yeah, I have
kids
a lot.
exactly.
You can trust people. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't. Every time we leave the house without the kids, you're like, oh, they're
Oh,
gonna
yeah, that's
drown
just
somewhere.
like mom anxiety.
But that's what I'm
though.
saying. So imagine going to Italy, going to a country you're 16 hours away.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's just those
yeah.
are just my views, of course.
Yes,
You
and
know, it's
obviously
just different.
And for me, I think he's talking mainly about like having kids. Because obviously, yeah, we
Yeah,
got
that's what I'm
married.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about, you said marriage.
I didn't say marriage
regretted
specifically.
our age. All
You
you
said,
said was-
do you regret it?
Yeah, and you
You're
said,
talking about us, or I guess maybe marriage. Well,
That's-
it's still, it all leads down a path, right? We got married. If we didn't get married, we wouldn't have moved in together. We wouldn't have had that house. We wouldn't have had that alone time. We would not have tried to get pregnant within that first month.
no. I mean, I just think it just depends.
I mean, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. You know, in my eyes, I suppose, is just before we got married, we didn't have a kid.
Oh, duh, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that though we wanted kids, we were waiting for marriage to have kids.
Yes.
And
I
so,
wanted to do it
therefore, setting that explosion of that ticking time bomb, I think, you know,
Yeah.
of having
But I
kids.
mean, like,
that's how I look at it.
For me, I guess I wish we would have had more communication. Because obviously,
yeah.
my biggest goal was to be a mom. Obviously, get married, be
Yeah.
a mom. I forever wanted to be a mom.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think both of ours
And
was that.
like I said, that's why if we got married and like some of our like more smarter friends, they were single for a while and they did stuff. They explored. They, you know what I mean?
They traveled.
Yeah. Not
No.
well. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Again, I don't disagree. I'm
But yeah, I don't
super
regret
happy we got
marrying you,
married.
'cause
Yeah,
we're
I
talking
don't
about
regret
marriage
marrying
now,
you. Like I said,
not
more
children. Yes.
timing,
Yes.
right? So, again, because if we would have got married a little later, we would have had kids a little later, which means we could have done things a little later, and it would mean we wouldn't be on our third kid already before we're 30.
Yeah,
Wait,
but that
how
just
old am
means they'll
I?
be out of the house sooner.
Oh shit, I'm already 30.
You're 30.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
I'm
kidding.
not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's where, like I said, I guess it's just different. I mean, that's where me and you
Another
can agree to
example why we're not
disagree.
perfect. Like we
Yeah.
don't
Like
see eye to eye.
I'm all in, like I said, for this marriage. Like obviously, when you did
Yeah.
ask me, like, well, not ask me, but you're like,
I kind of did. I was
that's
like,
what I'm
yo,
like.
dog, you want this money or what?
yeah. I forgot how you said it, but I remember like we were in the car and you were just like, yeah. So you wanna get
I feel
married?
like I
You
was
know?
like, what do you think?
yeah, there
Kind
you
of
go.
thing. Like
There you go. I
this.
was like, I don't know.
Like I feel like we were leaving the parking lot
Yeah.
because they literally were like, if you get married now, you'll get a ton of money, and we're like, oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, okay, sign me up, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay,
it was rough.
that's a big thing for money, you know.
But and then another reason too of why, like again, we're lucky because essentially we got married because of money. Not I mean, we obviously loved each other.
Oh, yeah.
but we didn't get married based off of that.
Yeah, we
got
knew we were
married
going to
based
get
off of
married.
money.
We just didn't know how soon in
When,
the future because we were
where,
broke.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think again that goes to the point of like we didn't get married off of love. We got married off of money at that moment. You know, we loved each other and that love carried us through. And that's where I think I don't want to say solved relationship problems, but it's like that is the key to everything is the love. So
Hello.
I think that we know or we have some idea of the key of how to make relationships work because we didn't necessarily get married because of the love. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, let's get married right now. It was, oh my gosh, they said we'll have money, so let's get married right now.
So now, obviously, not just that, it just makes me like feel like our marriage is like money based.
Yeah, I mean it is sad in general. I mean the way I look at it, right, is I feel guilt for the way we got married, how we got married, how I asked, when we got married. Like I feel kind of in a way ashamed because I feel like you deserve so much more. And but I mean if again, my logical way of thinking, factually, we would not have gotten married.
No.
If it were not for the money. At least not at that point in our time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying where I think that it is, you know, we got married for the love. And again, just to kind of tie it all in is saying that we, yes, got married for some other reason, just like many other people in the military did. Some of it, yes, was for love, but some of it not so much. Some of it was out of convenience or because they were looking to gain something financially, monetarily, whatever, a new place to live. But we made it work, and we made it work because of love, and we committed ourselves to each other, and that's what happened, and that's why it worked and why we stayed together for so long. So everyone had their own reasons for getting married, and we were lucky enough that we stuck it through together.
That or like we found each other before, I mean, so we kind of knew each other's flaws. Or
Yeah, I would say definitely that was a big plus because
like a giant problem, like I said, which we'd already talked about with getting married in the military, is like you literally talk to someone for maybe like what 2 weeks, a month.
Yeah, again, depending
don't
on
know them,
when they
and
got
you're
married,
like, hey, I love you. Do you want to get married?
Yeah.
You know?
I think we all know how hormones can really make you, and lust even can make you feel that you feel something more than for someone than you actually do.
And even money, because like I didn't even realize like a lot of women wanted soldiers because of either benefits or money, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a meme, but it's pretty true.
Yeah, so the meme would be like dependopotamuses, which is essentially your dependent, which is your spouse, who married you for the benefits and essentially for the money. So they would stay at home, do nothing, and while you worked and did everything, they demanded. It's like that, the Sublime, right? The Sublime song, or No, why don't you
That's
get a
offspring,
job?
baby.
Offspring, whatever.
Yes.
Offspring, whatever. Of that person staying home doing nothing and expecting so much. And in other cases as well, doing that along with cheating and leaving and stealing and things, lots of bad
Yeah.
scenarios, which we can go into in another episode.
Which we will.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so we did it. We got there. We made friends and we did the best that we could. So some of the problems that I think that a lot of military families relationships go through is, like you mentioned before, kind of like that culture shock of being from two different places then coming together. Not to mention if you never lived with that person before and then having your pet peeves.
Yeah, that would be like a lesson, like a.
Yeah, I mean, I try to
like
tell people that, like,
I would
don't
say
get
live with
married until you
someone.
live with somebody.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, get a chance to know them. Like, even like my mom would tell me, like, what if you don't like the way they take a shower? What if you don't like the way they fart stink? What if you know what I mean?
Has she actually said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's all good
What
stuff.
if you don't like the way they brush their teeth or chew? You know what I mean? That's a big thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, even just, I mean, you could say to this day that maybe somebody bothers you, your friend, your family, your loved one. Oh my gosh.
our daughter is grabbing a footrest, and she's about to throw it across the room.
So yeah, some of the typical problems would be like you were mentioning about what your mom said, and that's the advice I would normally give is don't move in with somebody if you never lived with them yet, or don't marry someone unless you lived with them yet, because you learn those things like pet peeves. Oh my gosh, you take a 3-hour shower. Oh my god, you take an hour to get ready. You leave all the lights on in the room when you go to bed. And that was one thing that bothered you and still bothers you today is lights. Like not even a little dot light from the DVR of your cable box.
I
Drives you
don't know
nuts.
why. Like, it's weird because like growing up, I lived with in my sister's rooms. You know, we all had the same room. She would sleep with the TV on, like my grandpa.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could not
especially-
like. I'd have to turn it off or be like, "Hey, turn it off." You know, and she'd be like, "What? I'm watching." And I'd be like, "No, you're snoring. Turn it off." You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Even now, like, we have our room and. Yeah, like Zach said, our DVR. I'm like, I can't. It's reflecting off the wall. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the light, that blue, bright ass light. You can't see it. So the next day I see and it have like painter's tape on it because he covered it for me, or like, you know.
And even
But-
things like that too. Little things to make. Well, I mean that's not a con, but it's like the things that you realize from
Advice,
a
sorry,
significant
that's it.
other. Yeah, that
That's what I
will
was thinking
do
about.
for you. Like that you maybe didn't appreciate or didn't even think about before. And the pros and the cons, you know, because you'll realize those things, some of those things that the people won't do. But yeah, culture shock, especially, you know, coming into a lifestyle that you're not even a part of, but you are a part of inadvertently because your significant other is a part of it. So as an example, I would say, I'm taking this off.
Okay.
I would say that I was gone for 12, 16 hours at a time and not home all the time. So pulling her especially, and it would apply to a lot of other families, pulling your significant other away from their family, moving them to your duty station, to a place where you now have nothing
Yeah, especially in like.
and no one.
Yeah, me and my sisters and my mom were really close. You know, obviously me and my grandparents too. You know,
Yeah.
I lived in my grandparents' house. But yeah, it was hard because like I remember the day we left to Louisiana too. We packed up the mini, everything's packed up, and I was just like trying
With
not
all
to
of
cry.
with all of our belongings too.
Yeah.
As a
And,
quick
like, not even
side
all
note,
of them,
yeah,
because we
That
left
when-
a lot behind.
What
you
did
know
we
I mean?
leave? We had nothing else. Everything else was like our parents or family's stuff. Like, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But like for me, it was our TV, our clothes. What else did we have?
I had a lot of knickknacks and photos.
Oh,
and-
knickknacks, little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So that's where like, you know, obviously driving, I was just like, it hurt, you know what I mean? Because like they were all I knew. And I remember being like on the freeway and Zach kept asking me like, do you want me to turn around? I can leave you here. You know, do you want me to turn around? I'm like, no, like we're married. Like it's sad and obviously it hurts. I was like, but I have to do it, you know?
We're in it together.
Yeah, I was like that's like the biggest thing is like to get married. You know what I mean? You're with this person now. That's your life. So,
okay. Yeah, and so yeah, again, as a quick side note, we packed almost everything we owned in this Mini Cooper, and we moved away. Here.
I'm fine.
Okay, in the Mini Cooper, moving to a new place. So again, taking her away from everything she knows. Not only now does she not have anyone she cares about nearby, we have next to nothing, no bed to sleep on or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine us going through, I'm sure many other couples and relationships went through that same thing similarly. Some didn't. Some had way more help, and some of those relationships still didn't make it. Like it's just, but you're going through this life-changing event. These big things are happening, and it is a culture shock. So
yeah, I
big old house by ourselves, nothing in there.
Yeah, I remember like later on, once we like had a good group of friends. Like even now, she's my best friend. Like she got married, and obviously her husband was different before anything. They got married, and next you know they had a house and obviously housing. And her apartment was already full of furniture and stuff. And I was like, how? You know, I was just like so amazed. I was like, how? Like me and Zach slept on a little, not even an inflatable mattress.
Mat, like a workout mat, I want to say.
Yeah. For a couple months, you know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't say that. I don't remember, so I can't correct you. But I don't think it was that long. It was probably like a week or so until we found a mattress to buy off of somebody.
You got me a couch, you said.
Well, yeah, I got a couch first, but I mean, like what we were sleeping on, like we ended up getting a mattress not too long later. But not to try and make myself sound great. It's just that, you know, we don't want to make it too much about us. Just the situation itself is that, you know, people go through these changes, these huge changes, and who do you have to blame, right? You could blame yourself, but realistically, in my eyes at least, you'd probably blame the other person. Like if I were you, sitting in this empty house for 16 hours a day by myself, and if I hated it, I'd be like, oh, this is this person's fault because they brought me. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying in general, right? So like that other person that you brought with you across, you know, the country, you might be like, F this dude, he brought me away. And actually, I probably know people who felt that way, you know, who like, dude brought me way over here for nothing. And I don't see him for 4 hours a day.
So that would be another.
Yeah, like a culture shock or complication, of things that can happen. And
it's a lot of stuff. Like obviously,
we're barely scratching the surface, really. Yeah, this is just things that we're thinking of right now. Like not even what we wanted to really talk about.
It's even like I said, like we were lucky enough because I know you had to work. I know you're going to be gone. Obviously, we'd be lonely.
You had a better attitude essentially about it. Yeah, because
so I was prepared. You know what I mean? I guess, I think not fully prepared, but
I think we knew a few people, or probably at least I've heard of or experienced when having to deal with some of my soldiers' relationships or peers' relationships and trying to help them out, of their significant other not happy because of all that, which is, it's not their fault. It's also not the soldiers' fault who got stationed there, because they're doing what they can and they're trying to give their significant other the best that they can.
Yeah, that or like they blame the significant other, so the soldier, I would say, for being lonely, and then with so many other lonely people,
and then
in the military, they find comfort somewhere else. You know, they like I said, we had one of our friends too. His wife at the time, like, I don't even know how many people she's at her house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just in general, I don't know if we should get too in depth, but it just you know, you find yourself in either scenario. I mean, really could be either one, and I can speak on the soldier's part because I'm not perfect, and I've made many mistakes throughout our relationship, and I've been lucky enough that we've made it through them. But on both parties, you can feel them because you have your significant other at home all day, potentially having oh man, what's the word? Not remorse, but spite or anger towards that person who brought you out there. Yeah. And then at the other hand of it too, from my experience, feeling anger or remorse, or not remorse is the wrong word, but or just
resentment.
Thank you. Resentment on both parties, right, towards each other because of something that you didn't even talk to each other about. And that's where one of our problems from me is that I was feeling a certain way. I think you felt some of that, maybe not to the extent of other people, you know what I mean? You might have. I'm not,
Yeah, no, yeah,
like I
I know.
just think that maybe at some point in our relationship you've had some resentment, maybe not a lot, maybe it was a quick second and
Yeah.
gone.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
I can't imagine you never having any resentment towards me. But anyhow, that feeling of resentment towards each other, and then like you said, feeling alone because you're apart from each other, and then that can go both ways. So I felt that way, and I felt well that I need to do something about it, and whether it was get in a fight with you or pursue other manners, which we'll get into in another episode. But I'm definitely not perfect, and again, what carried us through is our love and
Yeah.
commitment to each other and doing our best to make things work, and communication. And that's really what set us apart
Yeah.
from
'Cause even,
every
like,
relationship we've ever seen.
through our bad. So I want to say we never really like argued or yelled at each other.
But
We've
that was our
obviously,
problem also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, not saying you guys should like go and fucking
Fight.
tear each other apart, you know.
But no communication or argument, I'm sorry, is worse than no communication.
Yeah.
Because in
'Cause
that
obviously-
argument, there's something being said.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Because obviously, it's like, for me, it's like I didn't feel like the need to argue, I guess. So my instinct would be to like slam a door,
Yeah.
or show him I'm pissed off by, I don't know, my actions.
I think
.
I think a good way to kind of encapsulate it is I think we were both very grateful for each other.
Yes.
But again, I can't even say how you did feel towards me at any point in time. But I can probably say that I didn't want to ever argue because I knew that I was wrong for what I was feeling in every situation, no matter what. Even if I did feel unloved or unwanted by you or whatever, like, I never brought it up because I didn't want to argue. And I didn't want to argue because I knew I was happy to and lucky to have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
think that for me, at least, right, was my, looking back now, probably my biggest weakness is that I didn't want to tell her, hey, I don't feel loved by you and I don't feel wanted by you.
Yeah.
And then start that argument because it's going to lead to an argument.
And a lot of people don't hear that. I'm sensitive. So I don't want to talk to you. But like, thing is, like, he doesn't want to make me cry. I'm a crier. I cry. You know what I mean? I get that, whatever. But like, yeah, like he would just, I guess, ignore it or like try to push it down.
Yeah, I would try to just not feel it.
Yeah.
Or, I guess ignore it would be another good one too. Again, we won't get too much into like at that moment at least, since the topic is about military marriages and stuff, but that was tough, right? So I'd be gone for X amount of time. She, or in any case, right, the significant other's going to feel some type of way, good, bad, or ugly, right? And then the soldier who was there is going to feel another type of way too, because maybe, obviously you're not spending enough time because they're not.
Stress off from work.
Stress from work. Who do they have to talk to? There's not each other, basically. Yeah. I got home, we ate dinner, went to sleep.
Yeah.
Woke up at 5 a.m, didn't come back until about 5 to 6 in the evening if I was lucky. And then we ate dinner, went to sleep, and got ready for the next morning. So that was like our day-to-day, Monday through Friday.
On Fridays, they would release you early.
Yeah,
but
and then we'd
wasn't.
have weekends,
Yeah.
but now the weekend, I need to help around the house. We got to do grocery shopping, relax. Yeah, so it wasn't. We didn't get that good rhythm yet of communication until later on.
And it was hard,
so it was
like,
a lot.
as a military spouse. It's like, when do you cook dinner? You don't want it to be cold. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, they kind of come home around, a certain time, within that hour. But it's just like, when
it just
they
depends,
come home.
yeah.
Like, for me, as a wife, I want him to come home and have it ready. You know what I mean? But it's hard. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it was just a lot of things, or there is a lot of things, and those are just, again, the things that scratch the surface, because as we mentioned before, you just feeling some type of way, and even discussing it, I would say, with certain people. So, again, another issue that we had that I can recall just thinking about it, right, is, again, being in a new relationship is who do you talk to, right, about your problems in your relationship. Yeah. I remember that every time we had some sort of argument, she'd call her family and her mom,
I would call my mom.
which is fine, right? But the problem became when family members then get into it too deep, right? Or get involved when they probably shouldn't, which is no fault to the family member, because what are they going to do? What do they really expect? So it's not on the family's fault or her fault either. And then I didn't know how to react. So then that would cause more arguments and things like that.
I think he still to this day doesn't understand, like, the closeness my mom and sisters have, kind of. Like, he understands, like, I call them for stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, we're, like,
I don't know. I wouldn't say that I don't understand it. For me, it was just like there's certain things I just assumed was only between her and I. So if I failed her as a husband, if I didn't cook dinner, if I didn't whatever, I felt that stuff between her and I. The things I would assume she'd tell her mom is like, okay, we're getting a divorce. We're not getting a divorce. Like it's just over. I kind of felt that those struggles between us would be just us. But that was also not because I didn't understand and not because it wasn't right of her, but just because I've never done that before. I didn't have the experience in a relationship to kind of know that. But that's what I'm saying, right?
So it's like I didn't understand that stuff is between a husband and a wife too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was me just like venting,
which it's open to whatever you want to do in your relationship.
Yeah.
But that's again where communication needs to come in, because then for me personally, I just felt attacked. Whether I was right or wrong in whatever situation it was, probably wasn't right. I was probably wrong. I was probably doing something I shouldn't have done, but that's besides the point. It's just, it doesn't help the situation. And either way, without communicating first, without knowing those kind of, not procedures, but like knowing how one reacts to things of that nature, because it's just not conducive. So as an example, right, I wouldn't tell my best friend. Actually, I don't know how to even go from that, but it's just different. Every relationship's gonna be different. We're not saying it's wrong. I'm definitely not saying it's wrong. Yeah. It's just different. I wasn't used to it.
For the most part, just communicate with your spouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, I guess, another tip. Because like I said, I would, all my life, I'd run to my sisters or my mom, my grandma, whoever, and it was hard because like I knew them all my life, and now I have a new family, and it's just like, how do I tell him I'm feeling sad, but I don't want him to feel guilty because he's working. I'm at home. Yeah, I'm sad. I was like, but I don't want him to stress out because he's working in the Louisiana heat. Like, stupid things that I think about, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm very self-conscious. I'm very not doubt, but like self-critical. I'm very self-critical. So I'd be like, don't bother him, leave him alone. So my next thing would go to my mom, and like I said, it wasn't bad, but after a while I had to realize it's me and you.
Yeah. We have to figure this out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I can't.
We can't. The
cry
outside,
to my mom.
yeah, and then
I love my mom, but
well, yeah, and then I think that's kind of where I was going. Is what I was trying to say earlier. Is just that like I can ask anybody for their opinion, but at the end of the day, they can give me their opinion and even some advice, and it may be good advice, but they can't be the ones to help me make that decision, because I have to kind of realize those things.
Yes.
Or you have to realize those things. We have to. I mean, again, opinions and all that help. Help you get your mind in the state it should be to make that decision, but that should be it, I think. But I kind of lost it again, what I was trying to say. Oh yeah, because everyone might have ulterior motives, right? Mm-hmm. So as in a previous episode we mentioned, her family did not like me, and even at this point was not a huge fan of me, because not long before that I stole you from your mom, so your mom was not happy.
Because not technically yes, technically no, because that's where it's hard with my family. Because obviously once I told my mom about our marriage, she was like, oh great, like I have a son-in-law, you know what I mean, I wish I was there, but I understand. She was very understanding. Like, not saying that my mom was like the worst person ever, but she was like, oh okay, like you do you, let me know what you guys need and blah blah blah, you know what I mean. I was like, oh okay, because my mind obviously goes to like, no, you can't see him again, or whatever. But yeah, no, my mom was very supportive. Olivia's very my sister's very supportive. And my older sister was like on the iffy side, but she was more protective. She was very like, she's always been protective, But yeah, no, I said, so I would feel everyone liked you for the most part. Like I said, except for my older sister, she was kind of like, because she has a problem with letting newer people in, unless you prove yourself. But at the time, my husband is the kind of person where it's like,
take it or leave it.
Exactly. He doesn't have to prove himself unless, you know what I mean? But
yeah, and then also like just in general is just you don't know what that person who's giving you the advice of their motives are, or how what they're trying to tell you is more what they want to happen instead of what you
Yeah.
want. Not saying that's going to happen again. This is just
It
overall
could.
saying, yeah, we're just
Yeah.
saying that relationships, issues, and problems should be sorted out between the people in the relationship. Outside advice or ideas is nice, but you should be more focused on your own thoughts and opinions.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to help you make the right decision. So
That's
we
it.
can sit here and tell you all day, like, do this, do that.
Yeah.
But again, what we're trying to do is get you to do those things with yourself. So the communication, like we're discussing, like, it has nothing to do with our input with your relationship. Do with your relationship what you want to do in order to find out what you and your other wants to do.
I would just
talk, communicate.
I would just be cautious, obviously, like the exact said. Just be cautious of other people's advice, because there was at one point like I know one person that like I thought was a friend and completely gave me different advice because something was going on, And I was just like, obviously now I'm just like, oh my god, like
I don't think you've told me this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about. I mean,
That's different podcast.
Can you remember this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like he said, just for the most part, my advice would be talk
Communication.
to your
Communication.
spouse.
Communication. Big
Is
letters here is
key.
like that's the overview for almost everything that we'll ever talk about.
Yeah.
That's what carried us through
what
our
helped us.
relationship, and that's
Yeah.
what will carry you through your own. And again, communication with each other. The more we'll move on because I think we spent a lot of time on this particular part, but. So maybe cut all of what we talked out already or parts of it. But essentially is, yes, you talk to your family, talk to whomever you need to vent about what's going on. But at the end of the day, that conversation should be had with your significant other because that's how you're going to move forward with that situation. If she hates me or if I cheat on her or whatever, that conversation needs to be had between us because me telling someone else someone else might be giving me information to leave her because they want to be with her, or me leave her because they want to be with me, or whatever the case is. So like, you want to sort that out with each other first and foremost. If you need a little bit of insight, hey, how do I talk to them? That's great. That's some good stuff to get from somebody.
And first off,
you
talk to yourself too, because it's like if something like that happens, or like say it's something as like dumb as they leave their laundry on the floor.
Oh.
It's just like, it's just an example.
Yeah, no, but that's a good example, yeah.
Is this worth a divorce over?
It's just worth an argument, even.
Do you want to be picking their laundry up for the next 80 years?
Yeah, and that's a great thing to come back to on pet peeves and like not knowing what that person is going to bring to your life until you move in with them, because that can be a deal breaker. That can be a consistent annoyance, right? Waking up in the morning, tripping over someone's clothes, and just really bothering you, right? So communication is key. Mm-hmm. Some of the other difficult things, I think, which is still somewhat ties into like being alone, but those changes that happen immediately. Hey, honey, I'm gone for a week.
Yeah.
Not going to see you again. You're on your own.
Yeah. I remember he told me that he's like, oh, I'm going to the field. I was like, okay, like what time are you going to be home? He's like, I'm going to be gone for like the week. I got to pack. And I was just like, what? Like, what do you mean you're gone for a week? Like, no, but
and then
let's do it.
the thoughts that both parties have in that perspective now. So yeah, leaving at random times and having to be gone for days at a time with sometimes little to no notice is tough, and it all still kind of revolves around the same things about communication and being able to have those conversations about all those little things instead of letting it bottle up inside and just dealing with things as they come, I suppose. So while we're in, would you have, obviously don't regret marrying me, right?
Nope.
But would you have, if you can go back and not be in the military, would we do that? Would you want to do that?
I don't know, because like it's an experience, not everyone gets that experience, and we've met great people. We've not necessarily learned a lot because we're from California, so we like know different types. There's already different type of people there.
Yeah.
But I guess I would never would have gone to Louisiana.
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that. Same thing with probably Texas.
Yeah.
You know, unless it was to meet your family if we were to get married, if we weren't in the military. But at the same time, it's like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, like, would I want you gone for that year you were in Korea? No.
Yeah.
You know? But I felt like, I mean, our marriage got stronger because obviously we realized how much we loved each other, and, you know.
And that's a real testament too, because
I don't know.
I would say we went through the worst times in our relationship in the military, but also the best times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as you stated, we only got stronger after, of course, being beaten down by our experiences.
Yeah.
Almost calling it quits, almost not continuing through. But it only made us stronger at the end of the day. We're only closer now because of how many bad experiences we had, and how many different things we went through. Would you recommend someone to get married before? Or let me rephrase this. Would you recommend someone to get married before enlisting in the military, or would you recommend them to do it like once that guy has gotten, or girl has gotten settled down in their base and then get married? Which would you recommend?
I don't know. I personally like how we did it so before, because that way you both are going through it together. You know, obviously it's hard because you would go to work and you talk about like
Stuff.
and I'd be like, huh? Like he'd tell me about his whole day, and I'd be like, that's great. That's, you know, nice bridge building or whatever you were doing. You know, obviously you didn't, but things like that. But like, not advice, but like I think I'd probably have you guys go together, because I don't know, because you being a basic, like I said, that was different. So I guess that helped me a little bit, you know, not talking to you every day and you were gone for those
preparing you for
months.
the different situations we might get into.
Just hopping in to Fort whatever and being like, hello, you know. You know, what do I do? At least we drove around there together when we got there, you know. But at the same time, if you were in like our friends were, you would show me around. This is this place. This is this. This is our home. You know, whatever. So I don't know. It could go both ways. I feel, but I personally liked experiencing, I guess, all of it with you. Yeah. You know,
the struggles and the
the letters. You mean, obviously that kind of stuff is like romantic to me. I was just like, oh, I wrote him every day. I'd snuck in Kool-Aid packets for him.
What would you change about, obviously not say us getting married, but if you could change, or maybe not change. Okay, so knowing what we know now, how would you do things differently as a newly married couple? So like knowing the information we know now, from the day we're leaving or prepping to leave, like what would you have done different? What would we have done different?
I would say, well, we didn't have money, because I would say maybe rent a U-Haul and take your bed. You know what I mean? Little things like that. But like I said, we didn't have money, so we didn't have much option. You know.
Would you have sent me first to set everything up?
No.
No, you were still okay with what we did.
Yeah, definitely. Because honestly, like, it'd be fun, but I don't know if I would be able to leave without you driving. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I'd be afraid. That even was if I flew my comfort. Over. Yeah. So obviously I'd be on the plane, but I'd be like.
Like, what about like where we chose to live, like on post housing or off? Like, would you have knowing what we know now? Would you have preferred that we lived off post first, or period? No,
because like I said, I want to know. You know what I mean? I don't want to see how it felt.
Right, then, but again, knowing what you know now, so that's what I'm saying. Not in comparison to your experience.
Then
that's what I'm saying.
Sorry,
so knowing with everything. So like knowing what we know now, what would you change? Starting from the beginning, like how we moved out there, where we stayed, the friends we made or whatever, some things that you would do differently to either better protect us or
Then, yeah,
ourselves or
definitely.
have
Then,
more better experience.
I would definitely, obviously, would have lived off base at first. Found somewhere cheaper because it's just me and you. You wouldn't need that big townhouse or whatever. Saved some money.
Yeah.
Got what we wanted to get. Yeah. Not even that. It's just.
No, we did.
The housing took.
I don't remember what we spent. Yeah, well, the housing definitely. When you go enlist and you are married, you get an allowance to pay for the housing for you. If you stay on post, they take all of it. If you move off post, you can find rent cheaper, and then you can use some of that allowance to pay for furniture or utilities or groceries.
Yeah.
And for a new soldier who has nothing, that makes a difference. Yeah.
So obviously that would be something I would change. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not saying not to live on base in general, because obviously I didn't mind, because obviously I felt safer.
Yeah.
And
I think that living on base was nicer for having friends.
Yes.
Like,
oh yeah.
most of our friends that we did have or gained at some point in time all lived on post for a period of time. So
like they were a couple blocks away.
Yeah. So it was easy to go say hi and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about friends? So friends in general, right? And then if you want to bring up specific friends, but then not just, okay, we wouldn't be friends, but like, how would you have changed it? Because some of the stuff is like kind of unavoidable. Like like my friend E was unavoidable. I met him in basic, and he was there when I got to the station. He's been there ever since. Yeah.
Like that stuff. For me, it's hard to make friends.
Yeah.
So you always have to push me.
I guess more. What I'm asking is do you regret any of the friendships, whether temporary or not? Because obviously not all of our friendships worked out, right?
Yeah, I would.
Would you not have made some of those? Or do you think that those experiences, again, made us better and therefore would not want to change it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would have...
you would still change it?
Yeah, I would still change it. Because obviously, like I said, we went through a lot of other stuff. But that one, like I said, I don't believe is like a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
That was more like a
temptation.
I'm done. Yeah. I literally was ready to leave.
Yeah. Alrighty. So how would you say you specifically felt? I think we kind of touched upon this earlier, but how would you say you felt while you were home alone? All those days or those hours, since I was gone for long hours the day, being in the military. Mm-hmm. How would you say you felt specifically during that time? Like,
so at the beginning, obviously it was very sad. I was depressed. I was like, but obviously when he came home, it was gone, so like I just remember even the first night there, I was just like, don't cry, you're fine, he'll be home soon. Were you? No. I was like, but I was like, you're in the middle of nowhere with nobody. Your husband is, you don't even know, because you don't know this place.
Yeah.
You have no car. That was it. And I obviously grew up in California, so I was taught, like, you're going to get abducted. You're going to get, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to walk around. I didn't want to go for walks.
Not like there, where we lived, there was nowhere to go to.
Yeah, no, yeah. But you know what I mean? It was scary. I was like, I'm not good with directions either, so I don't want to go for a walk and be like, I'm lost. Like, where are you? I don't know, in some woods, you know? But like I said, so at the beginning, very scared. But after a while, obviously, I got into my routine. I got used to it. You'd come home, have breakfast, and, in the beginning, I would make you breakfast, and you'd come home after BT or whatever. You would take a shower, I'd make you breakfast, and then you would leave, by myself. Wash dishes. Obviously, you got me TV or cable or whatever, or even then, they had, like, Channel 5 or whatever, so I'd watch whatever was on. Had my music, so it was good. But yeah, I just stick to, like, doing whatever, danced, sang, cleaned,
Yeah.
Did my little thing, and like that, just kept myself busy doing stuff. Call my mom, see what she was doing, little things like that.
During that time, did you ever, like, think to yourself, what did I do?
No.
You didn't doubt it at all?
No. Like, you were what I wanted.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I'm good. Obviously it takes me a while, but after, like I said, being scared, like I said, you would come home, I'd be okay, we're good. We'd watch a little TV, or whatever, played Grand Theft Auto or whatever you did at a watchy or whatever. And no, that was it. But yeah. And after, obviously, we had Eli, and
it was
that
easier
was
because you had Eli.
I had him, and I took care of him, and you know what I mean. And we started making friends and little things like that. Obviously, not great. Like, I didn't have any close friends, but obviously we had Z and all that stuff.
Would you say that it is more difficult being married in the military in comparison to like not being in the military?
I would say yes, because like being in the military
is more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not like super difficult because like there's like pros and cons to both. Because I don't know marriage not in the military, so I obviously don't know for sure.
Right.
But being in the military, it's like I said, like we've talked about before, he was gone 16 plus hours, so it's like, how do you have a relationship with someone who's gone that long? Obviously, like, you love them, they make you work, whatever.
That's a really good way to put it too, like how to make a relationship work with someone you're not even with. Yeah,
exactly. We text every day, but for the most part, I don't want to get you in trouble, so I'll just like.
It was like a long distance relationship in a short distance.
Exactly. So long distance, except for you saw them every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then obviously being not in the military, I would assume we would have had financial issues. We'd constantly be working too, so we and you both be like gone and busy, which wouldn't be horrible, but it's like, where would we live? I probably would still be under the influence of my family.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, like
I would say it would be harder outside of the military, because even as hard as it is to maintain a relationship in the military, like the things that you're provided to make maybe not necessarily the relationship part work, because that is all on you, and it also throws barriers to that relationship, but it also sets you up in a manner of things you don't have to worry about. In some places it's different, right? Like if we would have lived or was born and raised in Texas, we probably wouldn't have had the same struggles we had in California. So like in California, you have to work 3 jobs to get an apartment on your own.
New Mexico, that's why. In
New Mexico, or you're talking about cheaper? Yeah. So like if we were somewhere else, definitely it probably would have been easier financially. But then again, too, where again, though not all of our lessons were learned immediately, or not my lessons, of course, some of those, either way, some of those lessons were learned through the military with whatever support systems we did receive. So outside of the military, right, no matter I think where we would have been, would we have made it through the same issues? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because let's say we were in California still and we had the money to live on our own or whatever. Would it have been easier for us to leave each other because we'd known? Because I think, at least in my eyes, right, part of why we didn't leave each other is because we cared so much about each other that we didn't want the other person to just fail.
Yeah.
So I would never have left you thinking you were going to be on the street.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you would have left me in the same condition, right? But if we're in California, now that restriction or that thing that held us back, not there.
Yeah.
So would our love have made it through? You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting, right?
Like, I don't know.
That's a tough part to say, whether it would be.
Not saying like you didn't have family to like back you up, because like obviously if it didn't work, if we were still in California and it didn't work out, or I would say if we even had our problems, like my first instinct would be to run to my family.
Yeah, like exactly. I think even instead of just like calling, you probably would have just left and then went to your family, and then I would have took it as you leaving for good or whatever, and then who knows what would have happened. Yeah,
we wouldn't have.
So maybe it would be tougher outside of the military.
Yeah, you're right.
So it is interesting. So for those of you who maybe watch and are in the military and you think, oh, we got it, it's super hard, maybe you should think about that, because maybe part of the reason they haven't left you or you haven't left them is because you do care still. Mm-hmm. I think we know some people who have left each other or separated and not hating each other, but just didn't really work out, but didn't really want the worst for each other. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I never really thought about, like, obviously I thought about getting married not in the military, but I never
thought about the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously, I know for sure I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. Like, surprise. You know what I mean? So we wouldn't have had a baby to worry about.
What do you mean? Well, I don't think we'd had a surprise baby.
No, that's why. I'm just saying, like, if we were to get married, it'd be like...
Outside the military, you think we would have had a surprise?
No.
I'm confused.
I think either way, like...
Because neither one was a surprise.
Well, yeah, like, so I'm saying is like, if you were outside the military, I think we would have waited a while to have a kid because I know we couldn't afford
Just
it.
financially. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so
Or in the
that would
military, we
probably
knew that was taken care
cause
of.
like stress on me because I would want a baby,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm the kind of person where it's like, I'm not going to get off birth control just to have a baby or trick you to have a baby. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, either it's yes or no. And if, you know what I mean? If I'm not, or if we're not financially stable, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You mean, or whatever it may be, but so I don't think our children would be like a, I don't know, concern.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And overall, I think that marriage and a relationship is tough and has many obstacles given to you by the military or things that make you and your partner feel different ways because of the military. And that's going to create roadblocks for your relationship. But it's not impossible. And as we mentioned before, even though there's a high attrition rate for marriage in the military, it's possible. We know of couples who've done it. We know bad situations. And maybe we'll get some of those people to talk about them. But I think if you love the person that you're with, it's worth it to fight for them. And that's the biggest thing, is fighting and communicating with your partner, explaining your point of view, explaining your feelings as best you can. And it gets easier and over time, and it becomes less of a fight to or a struggle to communicate or to work things out, and more of just like, oh, this problem's happening, well, this is how we're going to solve it.
Also, both of you would have to work for it, not just one, because there's many times, well, not many times, but there's a couple times where we've experienced one person like, I'm, you know, this is what I want, this is, you know what I mean, and the other person's just like, you know, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's true too.
So
Like making
both.
sure you put in equal effort, because then putting your time and effort into someone who doesn't want it, realizing that it would be beneficial for your mental health and your emotional health as well. Just communication, again, being kind of the overall arc of this show, is the key to any relationship. Being a significant other, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mother, your father, your cousin, your sister, being able to get that communication open and flowing to figure things out together is key. And I think that that's what we want you to take away from this.
Yes. And obviously, like, during the next, you know, couple episodes, we'll bring up more stuff. Obviously, we can't.
We'll get into more detail about all of my shortcomings. And
not even that, just like, I guess, just experiences or stuff we've forgotten now. You know what I mean? Or advice, you know. But yeah, no, we're definitely not perfect. And, you know, we've gone through
we
a
just
lot.
hope that we can inspire you to work through these things and to open those doors of communication, even if it's just with yourself. I think is another important thing too. As we mentioned before, I hope I don't get too off topic, is just, I had so many feelings that I didn't even want to acknowledge towards my wife, because I thought I was wrong to have those feelings. I'm sure she probably feels the same way.
And
Just
that's just it. Like I said, just to emphasize that too, I wasn't really like raised to, or I guess I was just shadowed.
Yeah. Well, I would say it was raised to express it.
Because I would, there would be times where, like, obviously I'd want to tell him or show him that I loved him, and I'm just like,
Or that she was mad even too, because those are the things that you still want to communicate. Because if you don't, the way I tell her is, if I don't know there's a problem, I can't fix it.
Yeah.
So if she's upset with me because I woke up wrong, I snored all night, whatever, I can't make it better if I don't know what the problem is. Yeah. And that goes vice versa. And I used to tell her that and then not tell her what the problems were that bothered me. Yeah. Which is, again, you have to communicate with each other to work these things out. Yeah. And yeah, communication is key overall. Working hard with your significant other.
Yeah. Agreed. But yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
I enjoyed talking to you.
I enjoyed talking to you too.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye, guys.